Hi, I'm Bett Bollhoefer, and this is a chakra-based class. We're going to be doing gentle movement. There's no standing at all. You can do this whole thing seated. If you don't have a lot of space, this is a perfect practice. We're going to really get into the full chakra system, going from the root to the crown, and just a full body class. It's going to feel really delicious and wonderful. What you need for this is a blanket. I highly recommend a blanket. Optionally, you could have 2 blocks, but those are the only props you need. So we're going to go ahead and start seated. So go ahead and come back to your mat. I highly recommend you sit on a blanket. If you don't have a blanket, you could use a towel. So we're going to go ahead and start seated, and we're going to do a 2-part inhale called the physiological sigh. Exhale through the mouth. So go ahead and close the eyes. Let the hands rest on the knees. Let's make that inhale even deeper. Top it off. On the next one, really extend the exhale even a little bit longer. And keep going. I'll mention some facts about the exhale. On the exhale is where we release the toxins. Each cell dumps the garbage into the CO2, and that comes out through the lungs. So really on the next exhale, feel the whole body releasing anything that you don't need. All right, we're all going to do one more. All right, so let's let the breath return to normal in and out through the nose. And notice now how your body feels just after that refreshing, deep breathing, especially the deep exhaling. We spend so much of our time in shallow breathing, and it's not so much the inhale, but the exhale. We hold on to that old stale air with all the toxins in it. All right, so now let's turn our attention to the emotional state. What is going on with us today? Being respectful of ourselves, to ask ourselves, like a good friend, how are you? How are you feeling? So take a moment to explore that. So once you've identified how you're feeling, notice how does that emotion manifest in your body? Be curious about where the sensations are in your being. It's really a luxury to take the time to feel our emotions. And take one more breath into that emotional manifestation in your body. And now we're going to turn attention to the mental state. Our subtle mind is continuously picking up information from the world, from our body, and it's trying to tell us about what it's seeing, but we tend to over-index on crisis, the sympathetic nervous system, the left brain. So let's take a moment to notice the thoughts on our mind today. What can we learn from the intuitions that bubble up when we stop to notice? All right. So with that nice little grounding luxury moment, let's now set an intention for practice. How do you want to feel at the end of practice today? Living an intentional life does take effort, but it is worth it. All right, let's bring our hands together. We'll start with an Om. Inhale. Om. All right, softly open the eyes. So we are going to be doing a full chakra practice today. And we're going to start with our feet. So let's come around into a table. So I highly recommend putting a blanket in the middle of your mat so that your knees don't feel uncomfortable. And we're going to put the hands underneath the shoulders. And we're going to start with the toes tucked. So the toenails are not touching the ground, the toes are tucked. And then we're going to walk the hands backwards to the point where we feel some stretch. No tears today, ladies. And no tears today, okay? I want to say no day, but you know what? Sometimes tears happen. But if it feels okay, you can come all the way up. And if you have blocks, you can put them on the side to help you with this. Now, the thing that with our feet is, everyone's feet are different. I've asked many people about their feet, and some people's feet are not tight. Unfortunately, I have very tight feet. So I'm going to show you from behind. We're going to try to work into the tightness of the feet. So my hands are on my blocks just to give me a little bit less pain because my feet are very tight today. And now I'm going to rock my heels out and then I'm going to rock my heels in. So we're opening up across the toes and getting into the plantar fascia. So go ahead, rock. And if your feet are just feeling super flexible today, you can feel free to sit up all the way and do this. That's too much for me, so I'm not going to be doing that. But each of you has your own special, unique situation today. So the feet are the first chakra, and it's the balance. It's the ability to be independent, to carry our groceries. I'm always obsessed with groceries. So when you think about independence, I think feet are the number one. And I do have students who have balance issues and they move through life tentatively. And that's sad. It's scary when you fear for every step, when you need to hold the railing because it's just dangerous for you to move. So we really want to keep our feet strong and agile. So getting the blood circulation and the movement into the toes is painful and critical. All right, so we're going to come out of this. Let's bring our blocks forward. If you were using those, come back down onto the hands. And then we're going to tap out the toes. So untuck the toes. The toenails will touch the ground now. And we'll tap, tap, tap. And now we're going to open the ankles. I have extremely famously tight ankles. Famously. So this is a very important thing that I do every day. So now so my toenails are touching the ground. Actually, my toenails are touching my blanket. And now I'm going to walk my hands back. Again, handy blocks to put on the side. And now I'm going to sit on the ankle. So when you're sitting on your ankles, things that can impede this is the knees being super tight. So if you're feeling really, really tight with the knees, if you do have another blanket, you could put that in between, or a bolster or a pillow or something, so that you're not so tight on the knees. The other thing that can happen is that your ankles just hurt a great deal. So you can always like push on the blocks so it's not so much. Now, we've been here for about 30 seconds or so. If it's starting to release, I'm going to give you another option that you can do. You're going to fall over to the right. And again, I'm showing you from the behind, and then you can fall over to the left. Now, if that's crazy, just stay seated normally. But if that feels good, you can bring the toes up on the side towards your shin. So now you're falling back and forth, pulling those toes up, and that way you can work out the tension on the ankle. I don't see any tears, so I think we must be doing okay here. So the ankle, I really make a joke, but I think we need to have it. Strong Ankle Magazine. It's a magazine that just showcases strong feet and ankles, because when you think about as we pivot on our foot, as we move around carrying the groceries, walking the dog, going for a hike with our friends, we are moving that ankle back and forth. And so if the ankle gets very stiff and rigid, it can stop our mobilization, which then can lead to trips and falls if the ankle is hardened. So keeping the ankle moving and agile is critical. One more on each side. All right, great. And now we're going to come and sit normally, and we're going to get into the hips. So we're moving up the root chakra, which comes from the feet all the way up to the middle of the pelvis. So we're going to sit. If you have a blanket, I highly recommend you bring that in, and we're going to sit on it. We're going to bring the feet nice and wide. All right. So your version of wide is going to be different based on many factors. So I was born naturally very flexible in this direction. It's actually been like that since I was a kid. So have your blocks. If you have blocks nearby, we're going to be using those soon. And we're going to try to do this without hands. So we're going to use the strength of the leg to move the leg. This is called mobility. And we're now getting into the strength of the hips. We're going to take the right foot in about 1.5 feet outside the sits bone. So that's my sits bone. That's my foot. It's not over here. It's on the outside. Then I'm going to drop that knee towards the middle with an exhale. I'm going to inhale that knee up, and then I'm going to exhale that foot out. And then I'm going to turn over to my left side, inhale that foot in. Again, it's outside the sits bone. Exhale it down, inhale it up, exhale out. And then we're going to continue at our own pace. If possible, using the mobility of the joint versus using the strength of our arms and hands. We're working on the root chakra here versus the heart chakra through the arms. So again, you don't have to move fast. You can move nice and slow. And if this is feeling good, you could do a little turn as you drop that knee, turning towards the same direction that the knee is falling. So it gives you a little twist. Can feel really nice. So let's talk about the hips. The hips don't lie, as a famous woman once said. If we have tight, weak hip muscles, and there's so many muscles of the hip, and that's its own class, we can move through the world in pain, again, with instability. We can have fear of walking. So keeping those hips strong. And what fights that? What's the blocker of having strong, agile hips? Sitting all day. Which is like, this is our Western world. In fact, I think it's the whole world. We sit. We sit while we're driving, which we're sitting in traffic so many hours a week. And then we're sitting while we're eating. We're sitting while we're watching the news. We're sitting at work at the computer. We're sitting watching the game, whatever that is, right? So our life is just sitting, 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 and that is tightening and weakening the psoas, which is at the front of the hip. So when we turn and do this little turn here, we're stretching a little bit through that psoas. So go ahead and feel that. So having tight, weak muscles of the hips causes agony. It's just, I see it constantly in my students, the agony of tight, weak hips. By the way, weakness can cause atrophy, and atrophy is the cells dying. So a lot of pain that we have is actually from our cells dying. How's that for a motivator? It's really scary. All right, let's go ahead and take the feet out and just notice how that feels, feeling through the hips. So this is a strengthener, right? What we just did is a strengthener. We're gonna do one more strengthener here. We're gonna bring the feet nice and wide. So a lot of times I see students bring their feet right together in front of them. This is the opposite of what we want. We want the feet nice and wide, grounded through the full foot. And then we're gonna keep this foot in this little box. So imagine a little box around your foot. We're gonna keep the foot in that box, and we're gonna drop the knees over to the right with an inhale. And then we're gonna exhale, drop the knees over to the left. I would rather you have a little bit of movement in the hips versus moving the foot over and then doing some kind of movement like that. That's not getting into the mobility of the hips. We keep the feet in the same place. We drop the knees back and forth. Inhale one direction, exhale in the other. Now, if this is feeling great and you're like, this is too easy for me, Bett, please give me more options. The other option is you can roll up onto the front shin, pushing through the hips, exhaling down, rolling over to the other side, inhaling up, exhaling down. Now that's called an option because it's not required. You could do it if you want to. If you're like, that's not for me today, that's perfectly fine. So either way you're doing this, you're strengthening the hip muscles. All right, again, we're not using our hands, but traveling does happen. Let's do one more on each side. And then once you've finished that, go ahead and sit. All right, great. So we're gonna get into the inner thighs now that we've warmed up the area. We're gonna take our blocks, and I always like to measure before we do the actual exercise. So let's just notice how high the knees are off the ground. So you can use your block to measure. The height of the knees from the ground is how tight the inner thighs are. So the tighter the inner thigh, the higher the knee. If the inner thighs are very loose, or stretched out, I should say, the knees will be closer to the ground. So once you've got a figure, the beginning measurement, let's take one block, put it in between the feet. We're gonna squeeze it. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And ways to do this. So first of all, I recommend sitting on a blanket because watch this. So if I'm sitting on the ground, my natural tendency, because my hamstrings are still tight, is to roll into a nice little C curve. This is not what we should look like. But if I sit on a blanket, then my pelvis is pointing forward, and now I can sit up nice and straight. And I'm also using my block as a place to place my hands, which I can then use to leverage to make sure I'm sitting up nice and straight. So this is what it should look like. And then we do long, deep breaths. So this is an isometric release and strengthener of the inner thighs. And what we're doing is pressing all four corners of the feet into the block. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. I've been thinking a lot about stretching and what is stretching. And the truth is the science doesn't know that much about what stretching is. It has to do with the caps on the ends of the muscles feeling safe. So as you're sitting here, think about how safe are you making your muscles feel? Are they feeling safe? It's not about muscling aggressively into releasing the muscle. I know muscle is used multiple ways in that sentence. It's about letting your muscle feel safe. It's a nervous system thing. So using the breath, long, slow breaths, lets your body know this is a safe place. We can release. This is why things like Feldenkrais are so powerful, because it's little tiny movements that let the muscle know everything's okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and take that block out, set it aside, and then remeasure. Notice if you've made any improvements. All right. So let's take the legs out wide again, and then we'll bring the right leg in. And this is where your blocks are gonna come in. So grab your blocks, and what we're gonna do is take our arms, put them on either side of the left leg, walk the hands down towards the foot, and then we're gonna build a little block tower. Okay, so we're gonna take our blocks. I know my blocks are the same color as my mat, so you probably can't even see them. But we're gonna build up a little tower. We're gonna take our head down, and your tower may be very high, and if you need more props, you know, go grab a cushion from the couch or a pillow from the bed or wherever, and build a nice tall tower that lets your forehead rest. And then we're gonna breathe into the tightness in the back of the leg and enjoy whatever we can. And I'm not gonna talk so you guys can really relax and rest into this. And for the last breath here, really let your hamstring just feel fully safe, fully relaxed as you inhale and exhale through the nose. All right, and then we're gonna come up. So we're gonna switch sides. So you can probably take your block tower just as it is and move it over. We're gonna bring the right leg out, bring the left leg in, take the hands on either side of the right leg, walk the hands down. And then once you get to the place where you feel a little bit of stretch, not overly pulling the muscle, then we'll build a block tower on the other side. So remember, even as we do this long, slow breathing, we're really trying to make that muscle feel safe. So letting the muscle know everything's okay, it can relax. And again, for the last few breaths here, how can you signal to the muscle everything's okay? All right, and come up slowly. We're going to now do the middle. So taking both legs out, we're going to move the block tower towards the middle. We're going to walk down the hands, and then wherever you feel a nice stretch, not too much, then build your block tower right there. And the goal is to feel safe. Long, slow breaths to the nose, into the lower belly. Again, for the last few breaths, really feeling completely relaxed. Maybe extend the exhale a little bit longer. All right, lovely. Let's come on up. So we've really got into this whole root chakra, which is our ability to move through the world securely, safely, having agency, feeling free to leave situations that we don't want to be in and walk towards situations we do. All right, so let's bring the blocks off the mat, and we're going to come around into a bridge pose. So we're going to work now on the sacrum. Sacrum chakra is all about our unique creativity, our unique expression in the world. So we're going to bring the feet hip width, and we're going to plant the feet securely into the ground, and we're going to lift the hips right up into the sky. With an inhale, we're going to massage the back on the way up. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle all the way up. When we get to the very top, we're going to come down slowly, and then we're going to just do this dynamic bridge for about a minute. There's no need to be fast, and really feeling the sacrum lifting and lowering. In our modern world, we're bombarded with images of the ideal, or whatever our culture thinks is the ideal. And the sacrum's challenge to us is, forget the ideal, be yourself. There's no one else that's like you. Be you. But it takes courage. So strengthening and focusing on our sacrum can help us have that courage to be our unique, special, uniquely creative person that we are. All right, let's do one more. And then we're going to come down slowly, really get that massage in all the way along the back. And then take a moment just to rest and feel the movement through the body. All right, we're going to do another bridge variation. The feet are still hip width apart, all four corners of the feet planted. We're going to lift all the way up and march. So this one's a little more energy. So once you get to the very top with the lifts, the feet press, oh my goodness, the feet firmly pressed into the ground. We're going to lift the right knee into the chest, set it down, inhale the left knee, exhale down. We're going to march. And again, feeling that sacrum right in between the pubic bone and the belly button. Notice if you're clenching your jaw or your eyes. Soften the tongue. And we're doing 1 minute here. If you need to take a break, please do. Always listen to your body. If you've noticed your hips have fallen a little bit, go ahead and push them back up. Being our own unique self is hard. You've got to build that strength. All right, one more on each side. And then go ahead and lower slowly again. You massage the back and then either leg straight or bent. Long, slow breaths, feeling the blood flowing through the body. All right, wonderful. We're gonna now move up into our solar plexus. So the solar plexus is a place of personal power. Personal power. Do you feel powerful or do you feel weak, scared, impotent in the world? We want to develop our personal power. So we're going to lift the legs and the arms off the ground. We're going to do a breath of fire. Breath of fire is a breath where we inhale and exhale through the nose. It's an even inhale, exhale, and it's very powerful. It pumps the belly. So we're going to pump the whole belly region. And we're going to be lifting the legs. So let me give you some options. If you're feeling a little out of gas today, you could just lift one leg at a time with the breath of fire. If you feel a little more energetic, you can leave the head on the ground and lift both legs. And if you're feeling super energetic today, you can lift both legs and the arms and balance on the sacrum. All right, so your option is your choice. We're all going to do this for exactly 20 seconds, starting in 3, 2, 1, everyone up. Make sure that belly is rising and falling. 3, 2, 1, everyone rest. Feeling that personal power rushing through your body. Long, slow breaths. All right, so we're going to do it one more time. 3, 2, 1. Choose your option. Just 20 seconds. Three, 2, 1, and rest. Long, slow breaths. All right, wonderful. We're going to get into the heart chakra. So we're going to come up to sit. Find a comfortable seated pose. You can sit on a blanket. So the heart chakra is our ability to serve, to connect with our community, our ability to love the people we want to love. So we're going to take our hands to our heart chakra in the center with an exhale. You can lower your head a little bit, and then we're going to inhale, stretching through the hands. And we're going to get into the throat chakra a little here. And then exhaling, bring the hands to heart center. So you can go as slow as you want to. Always be very gentle with your neck. Stretching through the fingertips. And as we do this little motion, really feel your heart center radiating out to the community that you love. Maybe it's your family, your friends, an organization you're part of, and then bringing that energy to your heart center, feeling the warmth as you press all the air out. So we're really warming up the shoulders here and the thoracic spine as you curl down, opening up through the pectorals. So we serve our community through our fingers, through our strong arms. Think about creating a meal for your family, your friends to come over, enjoy, helping your neighbor carry out their garbage, feeding your dog or your cat. These are all acts of service that we bring to the world through our arms and our hands. So keeping our arms strong, agile. Is critical as we serve. All right, let's do one more. So ways that we get blocked up with our heart chakra is really just this slump. So let's all bring our hands to our chest and just notice the slump. So when we let our head fall forward and we let our shoulders slump down and our neck gets all this pressure, forehead posture as they say, and then we look up and then we reach our arms out to try to keyboard. This is how we live our life. And think about the emails that we're writing when we're like this. They're like, you know, you messed up this bill. This is not the correct charge, right? Instead of sitting up straight, having the shoulders back, opening up the chest, saying, I've noticed that the bill has some inconsistencies. I know that you're so busy, but maybe could you possibly just look into it a little bit, right? It's like coming from more empathetic, compassionate point of view when we open the chest. So these pectorals are just so tight and shortened. And then the back, thoracic, is overextended and weak. So we have these problems, and then the neck gets so tight, the shoulders are full of pain, and we just wonder why we feel so stagnant. So just making an effort to sit up straight and tall and opening the chest and coming to the world with more compassion. So we're going to do a little bit of compassion breathing here. We're going to bring the hands to the chest, and we're going to do the humming bee breath, one of my favorites. So it's in and out through the nose, and it sounds like the second half of the Om. And so on this, there's a tendency to want to gasp the air because the juice is obviously the exhale, but really want to inhale slowly into the lower part of the belly so that we don't have a sympathetic nervous response. All right, go ahead. We're going to do it for 2 minutes. Inhale. Feeling the vibration through your whole body, and inhale at your own pace as you need to. All right, last one. Really enjoy. All right, and we're just going to sit for 1 minute, feeling that vibration. You can keep your hands here, but if your arms are getting tired, you can always set them down. Just feeling the vibration of the hum through your whole body. So lovely. The breath is such a gift. All right, we're going to continue to open up the throat, the shoulder area. We're going to take our hands, 4 fingers are in front, thumb is behind. I don't know if I'm reversing you or whatnot. We're going to inhale to your left, exhale to the right. This doesn't have to be fast. Full inhale, full exhale. If your legs are cramping, feel free to move them. A little dynamic twist here. All right, one more in each direction. All right, great. And then we're going to bring our body to center. Now we're going to lift from the lats. The lats are the back part of the side body. We're going to lift up, bring the elbows up above our head. With a big inhale, exhaling down. Let me show you from the side. So my arms are going behind my head. And again, we're not rushing. There's no need to go fast here. I'm squeezing the elbows together behind my head, squeezing my shoulder blades together, and I'm lifting from this side body. So we're squeezing the traps at the top of the shoulders. This muscle gets so tight when we're hunched over the computer. And that's going to get into that neck, releasing the neck. So we're about to get into the throat chakra. And the throat chakra is our unique voice. How often have you been in a situation where you did not feel you could speak your own words, your own mind? Maybe it was your family would look down on you, reject you, make fun of you. Your colleagues would ridicule your ideas. Whatever that is, being able to have the courage to speak our own truth it's very challenging in the world. So strengthening the neck, the throat chakra, and practicing speaking and seeing it, probably the worst is not going to happen. All right, one more of these. Nice. All right, so go ahead and let the arms down. You can shake out the hands. We're going to go ahead and just take the legs, shake them out if they're getting cramped. We're going to now work on the throat chakra. So coming up to the neck, we're going to bring the right hand above the right ear, drop the left hand over, and then we're going to press down. We're just going to do 5 breaths on this, on each side. So the left hand, the left elbow is coming down. We're going to press the head into the hand into the head, 5 breaths. The elbow is coming down towards the ground. It's a static hold. And notice the eyes, are they clenching? Is the jaw clenching? Loosen those. We're just working on the neck. And one more. Come up very slowly. Anything with the neck, we want to do it respectfully, kindly, thoughtfully. Bring the right hand up above the right ear. That elbow, the right side, is going to drop down to the right side of the floor. Left hand's going to touch. 5 breaths. The nose is forward. And we're not squishing our ear. And 5. Come up slowly. We're going to interlace the fingers, bring them behind the head. And I'm really squeezing my shoulder blades together. I'm pressing the head into the hands and the hands into the head. Cervical spine health. As we age, we lose calcium from the bones. When we squeeze the muscle into the bone, the bone realizes it needs to add more resources. One more breath. And come out. And so the bone becomes stronger. The body allocates resources to that area. So we really want to work on strengthening the muscle, strengthening the neck. Let's bring the hands above the eyes, pressing the elbows down towards the ground, pressing the hands into the forehead and the forehead down, equal and opposite, 5 breaths. The body is always optimizing. It's a very smart system. And if it thinks that you don't need a resource and is at a location because you haven't used that muscle in a long time, it's not dumb. It knows what it's doing. It's going to take the resource out of that area and it's going to bring it somewhere else. We're going to do one more breath. Coming up. Come very slowly. Okay. So we've got to keep the neck strong, and these kind of exercises are really critical. All right, we're going to come around and do child's pose. So have your blocks nearby if you have blocks, and we're going to be using those in a moment. So coming down in child's pose, you can either have your arms overhead or by your feet, whichever one feels more comfortable. And as we do this, we're going to come into the third eye. So the third eye is the middle of the forehead between the eyebrows, letting our third eye touch the ground. Now, if you have any problems with letting your forehead touch the ground, please put a blanket or block, a cushion. We really want to ground through the forehead, and we're having a chance now to tap into the intuition. We are so wise. Can we listen to the inner voice? And now we're going to grab our blocks. We're going to bring the elbows onto the blocks. So make a little V shape with the blocks right in front of your head. And then we're going to take the elbows up to the corner of each block, bring the hands together, and then drop the head down. And again, if the head doesn't reach the ground because your shoulders are super tight, take your blanket, roll it up so that you can let that third eye rest. We're continuing to tap into the intuition from our own brain, our mind, our subtle mind, the inner wisdom. So make sure your third eye is resting. and slowly come up. So we've basically gone through all the chakras, starting with the feet, coming up to the hips, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, and the third eye. We're now going to do a little meditation and get into the crown. So go ahead and set up your blanket, and we're going to sit however you want to. Honestly, if your legs are cramped or anything, go ahead and sit whatever way you could even sit in a chair. So we're going to do a breath that we're going to visualize it coming from the nose up through our third eye up to the crown, and then exhaling down, visualizing the breath coming down. So I know that physiologically our breath is coming down into the lungs, but we're going to be just visualizing this energy coming from the nose to the third eye to the crown. And before we jump into this, let me just tell you a little bit about the crown. So the crown chakra is connecting to the divine, and that means something different to everybody. And whatever that means to you, you tap into that. So we've aligned all the chakras. We feel safe and secure with the feet. We feel unique and creative. We feel empowered through the solar plexus. We feel connected to our community. We're strong. We can speak our own mind through the throat. We're listening to our intuition. We're a fully engaged person who's absorbing all the information coming from our eyes, our ears, our heart center, the whole body to understand what's going on in the world and with ourselves. And now we're going to connect to that universal consciousness, all creatures everywhere. And you can think of this as building up, right? We start with safety, creativity, moving all the way up. And now it's like, how compassionate can we be towards all life? The oceans, the atmosphere, the trees, all the beings on this beautiful globe, and maybe beyond. Why not go all the way out there to the aliens if they're there on other planets? All right, so we're gonna really try to connect to that. And you think about the artists of the world, they get downloaded something. They're like, oh, it came to me. So think about that as the creative spirit, that we're gonna connect to that universal wisdom that's out there. So the hands will be in Gyan Mudra, forefinger touching thumb. Make sure you're comfy. If you at all need to move, please listen to your body as you do this little meditation. So we're gonna have a nice little 5-minute meditation here. So keeping the mind focused on the breath, you can label it in as you inhale, exhale with a label out. All right, go ahead and begin. last breath. Nice. All right, we're going to come down and do a happy baby, and then we're going to set up for Shavasana. So coming down onto your back, we're going to bring the feet up, grabbing the outside of the feet if possible. And we're going to start with a little sacrum massage. So once you're on your back, go ahead and join me. And then we're going to bring the feet together, do a little reclined Baddha Konasana. We'll roll around the sacrum in one direction, and then the other. And then go ahead and bring the feet up above the belly button, getting into the lumbar. You can rock back and forth. And then you can bring your feet near your face or above your face and get into the upper back. And then roll wherever feels like the best place for you right now. And then we're going to do a little roll up and down the spine, massaging the whole back. We're going to do a little sloppy twist, bring the knees into the chest, drop them over to the right, stretch the arms, look over the left shoulder. What can you release right now? Is there anything you're holding? Is it your eyes, your neck, your jaw, your tongue, your hips? Breathe into that area and release. All right, we're going to bring the knees back into the chest. Exhale, dropping them over to the left. Look over the right shoulder. Again, long, slow breaths into anything that's holding. All right, one more slow breath. So if you want to pull on socks, go ahead and pull the knees into the chest and exhale. Grab whatever you need for your Shavasana, making sure you are warm and cozy. If you have a bolster, you can put that under your knees. If you have another blanket, you can pull it over. Whatever's going to make you feel safe, comfy, letting all the work we did integrate. Full chakra integration. So some people like to skip the Shavasana and they're missing the best part. Shavasana is a place for us to take the things we've done and let them settle down and get the benefit. So go ahead, once you got yourself settled, let's do a little body scan here. Feeling the feet rest, sink into the ground. Feeling the muscles and the flesh, the legs relax, deepen. Feeling the hips rest. The whole root chakra just relax. We are safe right now. We are safe. And then feeling your belly rise and fall, your sacral chakra. You are a unique, creative being, unlike any ever before, and no one will be like you in the future. Feeling your solar plexus rise and fall with the breath. You are powerful. Feeling your ribs expand on the inhale. All the intercostal muscles stretching. The ribs fall on the exhale. Feeling all the love through your heart center. You love. You connect. You serve. Feeling your arms fully rest on the ground. Sink a little deeper into the floor. Feeling the shoulder blades relax. And feeling your throat fully relaxed, calm, confident that you can speak your truth. You can speak up for those who don't have a voice. You can speak constructive words to those around you. You can use your voice for good. And then feeling your third eye, your intuition, your subtle mind. You listen, you see, you know. Trust your intuition. And then finally, the crown chakra. You connect to the wider consciousness, to the universal divine. And then feel the whole body connected, all the wisdom from each chakra, to be fully empowered individual, to bring gratitude and blessing to those who you influence, those who rely on you. And then notice the after effects of our practice today, noticing the emotional state. If there's any new emotions coming up, breathe into that area in your body. And then notice the mental state. Notice if the thoughts have slowed, or changed type, category. And then remember your intention for practice today. So we're going to slowly start waking up the body with the 2-part inhale. Exhale through the mouth. Wiggling fingers and toes. Reach your arms overhead. Stretch to the right. Stretch to the left. Bring the knees in. Circle in one direction. Go in the other direction. We'll roll up and down the spine, and then we'll roll up to sit. We're going to bring the hands together. Exhale all the air out. Inhale for an Om. Om. And may the benefits of this practice benefit you and everyone you meet. Namaste. So I'm Bett Bollhoefer. I hope you enjoyed this full body chakra practice today. If you enjoyed it, please click like. If you think someone you know may enjoy this class also, send them the link. And if you enjoy this kind of content, subscribe to my channel. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Namaste.